Chapter 5 is called The 12th Fiancé of Tantrum O'Ugly. Hiccup turned to Fishlegs in horror. "It wasn't you, was it, Fishlegs?" he hissed desperately at his friend. Of course it couldn't have been. Fishlegs was only 13 and a quarter. He was far too young to be sending love poetry to beautiful Psyche princesses with homicidal maniacs for fathers. But Fishlegs was redder than a sunset. He pushed his glasses further onto his nose and mumbled so low that Hiccup could barely hear him. He coughed. "I've been practising my poetry, you see. It's quite a good poem, don't you think?" said Fishlegs, proud of his artistic effort, despite the peril of the moment. "Although the word quadruped is not very poetic, I had some trouble with it. Poetry is not as easy as it sounds, as it looks." "What are you talking about, you loon?" hissed Hiccup. "Who cares if it's a good poem or not? Ugly things are not exactly particular about their poetry. They're much better at removing people's heads and tying their arms in complicated reef knots. The thing is, why in Woden's name did you send her the beastly poem in the first place?" Fishlegs was now whiter than a piece of paper. "I just thought she was quite pretty, and so she was inspiring my poetry. The thing is," explained Fishlegs, "I'm not sure whether the whole hooligan warrior swords and axes grunting and thumping thing is really working out for me. So I was just thinking that if I failed the training program, which, let's face it, is quite likely, I could always start out as a poet, maybe make my way up to being a wandering minstrel, and perhaps even end up as a bard even." "Good idea, Fishlegs." "It's a good idea, which is what Hiccup says. "It's a good idea, Fishlegs. I'm not knocking it," said Hiccup. "But let's talk about your career options later. Now we have a problem." "I'm sorry, Hiccup," said Fishlegs. Fishlegs took his glasses off and put them on again in a harassed sort of way. He swallowed hard. "What do you think he's going to do to me?" he whispered back to Hiccup. "He's going to kill you," Hiccup explained patiently. "Horribly, but mercifully quickly, if you're lucky." "You think so?" said Fishlegs quaveringly. "Well, not only think so, I know so," said Hiccup. "If you can get to be one of her fiancés in the first place, you have to be of royal blood. I'm afraid we are living in prejudiced times, and by my reckoning that means death on the spot for you." "Okay," smiled Ugg. "I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask the culprit to own up. I'll count to 5. 1, 2, 3. "I have to own up," Fishlegs whispered, "or else we'll all get killed. It's been nice knowing you, Hiccup." 4, said Ugg warningly. Fishlegs got unsteadily to his feet and shakily wiped his steamed up glasses on his shirt front before jamming the back on his nose with fierce determination. "You see, he's so brave, Fishlegs." "Wait," Hiccup whispered. "I think I may have a plan." "A clever one?" replied Fishlegs, hopefully. "Oh, for Thor's sake," said Hiccup. "Cleverish. There's no time to be fussy." "Stop!" yelled Hiccup. And there's Hiccup saying, "Oh, for Thor's sake, you really owe me for this one," Fishlegs. He does. Fishlegs is very brave. Everyone turned round and looked at him. "Oh, brother, this was going to be hard." "I wrote the poem," said Hiccup. There was a short, astonished silence. Hiccup couldn't look at Snotlet or Dog's Breath of Derby, who were beside themselves with glee. "Your heir wrote the poem, Stuart?" chuckled the ugly thing, leaning back in the throne and taking a good long puff on his cigar. "I knew there was going to be a happy ending." "Hiccup!" cried Stuart the Vast. "You didn't write this letter, did you?" "I'm afraid so, Father," lied Hiccup. Snort, 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 went Snotlet and Dog's Breath of Derbrand. "What's this mean?" said Stoic the Vast. "It means," drawled Ugg, very, very pleased with himself, "that according to our barbaric code, your son, Hiccup Red, has had the third, being of royal blood, has had the excellent good luck to become the latest fiancé of my dearly beloved daughter, Princess Tantrum O'Ugly." But, blustered Stoic the Vast, trying to focus on just one of the reasons that he felt that this was a gobsmackingly bad idea. "What about the age gap?" "I don't think you'll find the age gap is a problem," grinned the ugly thing. "To actually marry my daughter, he would have to pass the impossible task," I said. "You said the latest fiancé," said Hiccup. "How many fiancés have you actually had, Princess Tantrum?" 11, said Tantrum, tossing her hair and throwing her father a look so furious that his beard should have gone up in flames on the spot. "That's counting the fiancé before last, who is the one I love and I am actually going to marry." "Love," sneered the ugly thing. "A princess can't marry for love. Besides, I'm not sure that the fiancé before last really counts, because I think he was lying about his royal blood." "I'm not going to marry somebody just because they have stay-at-home royal blood, Father," exclaimed Storm Tantrum. "I'm sick of castles and roofs and bodyguards and jewels. I'm going to marry a hero. I'm going to marry my hero and sail into the sunset and sleep under the stars and live by the sword and let our boat take us wherever the wind blows us. I'm going to marry my hero, the fiancé before last, who is the one I love. Oh, I love Tantrum. Yes, well, there's a tiny problem about that, isn't there, Tantrum? Smiled Ugly. Like, your hero never returned from the impossible task. If he was a true hero, he would have returned. He will return, said Tantrum stubbornly, tossing her beautiful hair and crossing her arms. He will return. I am waiting for him. Of course you can wait, Tantrum, my dear, said Ugly. But you may be waiting a long time. You may be waiting forever. Well, I can wait a long time, said Tantrum. I can wait forever. Well, you just keep on waiting, cooed Ugly. Don't let me stop you. In the meantime, he turned to Stoic the Vast, my only career criteria for my daughter Tantrum's hand in marriage is royal blood. Ha! Snorted Tantrum and tossed her hair. And for the fiancé to provide 1 barrel of mead for the honeymoon. Stoic the Vast cheered up like anything. Is that the impossible task? He said eagerly. Honeymoon is apparently a Viking expression. The term comes from the month of partying with mead, a drink made from honey, to celebrate a marriage. Oh, that doesn't sound impossible at all. The impossible task I had to complete when I got married was far harder than that. I had to fetch the firestone from the lava mountain, and that was quite tricky, I can tell you. It required strength, agility, huge muscles, real Viking qualities. This sounds easy peasy in comparison. 1 barrel of meat is nothing. I'm sure there's a catch, said Hiccup. Otherwise 11 previous fiancés wouldn't have failed the task. No catch, shrugged Ugg. But only the best is good enough for us, Ugly thanks. The mead has to be made from the best honey in the world. And the bees that make the best honey in the world, Ugg paused for effect, are the bees of Berserk. There was silence around the campfire on the beach of the Broken Heart. The moon's path glittered down on the soft lapping waves, and the mirrored silhouettes of the boats moored in the bay danced in the starlight. In the marshes behind, the neverbirds were calling that haunting cry of theirs, which sounded like, where are you? Where are you? And everybody round the campfire turned to the great, hulking, brutish silhouette of the island of Berserk to the south. Like a bent-over beast it was, brooding with misery and longing on the silent, and as if on cue, the dead of night ceremony came to an end with a great crescendo howling like 1,000 wailing furies, where the toothache and the tops of the trees of Berserk swayed, although there was no wind to sway them. What was happening out there? Hiccup really didn't want to find out. Stoic the Vast stood up to his full, proud height. He put a hand on Hiccup's shoulder. My son will collect this honey for the bees of Berserk or die in the attempt. Isn't that right, Hiccup? That's right, said Hiccup, swallowing hard. That's just what I wanted to hear, roared Ugly Thug. How about Midsummer's Day for the wedding? That gives you plenty of time to collect lots of honey. So I'll expect you at Ugly Thug Castle, midsummer morning, 5 o'clock sharp, with, 5 pots of Berserk honey. Right. Ugg rubbed his hands together with satisfaction. I think that covers everything. You won't mind if I take this throne with me, will you, Stoic? Anything that drifts onto this beach belongs to me. Before the Ugly Thugs left, Hiccup had one more question for his future father-in-law. Kamikaze, he said, the bog bugler we are looking for, have you seen her, your ugliness? Well, said Ugg, is Kamikaze a small blonde child, so high, with hair that needs a good brush, and a terrible habit of trespassing on my land and stealing beautiful, rare mood dragons that don't belong to her? Oh, Stormfly. Only Ugg the Ugly Thug can own a mood dragon. Anyone who steals from me will be taught a terrible lesson. That's her, said Hiccup, getting that awful sinking feeling again. Then I've never seen her before in my life, said Ugg with one of his particularly grim smile. Goodbye, Hiccup, horrendous Haddock the Third. That's Toothless eating the spoon. Right. Oh, and chapter 6 is called All Alone. We'll have to have that tomorrow.